Today we'll be editing this image, and we're going to be talking about editing in the style of straight photography. So first thing, we want to come over to our develop module. We're going to start in the basic module, and under the basic module you notice we have either color or black and white. So I'm going to click black and white, and in the black and white editing, what I'm going to do up here is kind of get a rough idea of how I want this image to look. So we start in the histogram, and I'm going to take a look at where the distribution of values are. And currently I have no whites in this zone here, and I have almost no blacks. So I don't have quite a full range of values. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the clipping so I can see when I accidentally go too far with something. And I'm going to try to distribute these values better while looking at the image. So right now I've got a good range of middle grays, but I need a little more contrast in here. So I'm going to bump up my contrast, and I'm going to take that to about 75. I'm going to take my exposure, I'm going to raise that to about 0.35, and I'm going to come down to my texture and clarity, and I'm going to play with these a little bit to see how I can enhance the textures that I'm seeing. Alright, that looks pretty good there. Now my advanced black and white editing actually can go beyond this. So I'm going to scroll down. Normally this says HSL or color. Right now it says black and white. And notice that it has colors listed here. These colors allow you to actually edit the colors in the photograph. So if you have something in color, so this was kind of a peach rose, I can alter those colors by brightening them. Of course, they're in black and white still, but it still registers those colors, or darkening them. So I'm going to leave the reds in the +11. I'm going to take a look at the oranges. That's going a little bit too far, so I'm going to bring those down a little bit. So that's -13. Take a look at the yellows and how that affects the background. I'll darken the background quite a bit here, but I'm getting some posterization. So I'm going to stop at about -17. I can take the greens, play with those a little bit, see what happens. So it doesn't quite start posterizing until -35, so I'll stop that there. Let's see if there are any blues in the image. Not really, so I'm going to leave those alone at 0. That was the aquas. There really are no blues, so I'm just going to leave that at 0. And the purples, no purples, so I'll set that to 0. And magenta, so I'm looking at the magentas now. Actually, I like that almost all the way to white, so we'll go +100 on the magenta. So using the black and white panel allows me to manipulate the colors that I see and make the image be exactly what I'm looking for in texture, in clarity, and in black and white conversion. So this gives me a lot more control over my color conversion. Alright. This photo we're going to go ahead and export and upload that one. We'll call that Edwards black and white. Okay, now we're going to go to this photo here, and this time we'll go ahead and use the black and white conversion up here, but instead of just going straight black and white or using the color conversion down here, this time I'm going to use my tone curve. The tone curve basically gives me a straight line, and it's taking a look at the histogram. So most of my values in this histogram are in the center range, so if I wanted to make them even lighter in that center range, I can simply raise that part of the tone curve up. If I wanted to make them darker, I'd raise that tone curve down. And the way the tone curve works is it tries to make smooth transitions between dark and light, and a standard curve might be darker darks and brighter whites for a higher contrast image. And this is a standard S-shaped curve that we might see there. If I wanted it lower contrast, I could raise the blacks to go more light gray, and I could take the whites and bring those down, make them lighter. And play with that tone curve. So bring the tone curve to a point that you are happy with the contrast in the image, and it looks semi like a straight photography photograph. Now it's not, because I have these blurry backgrounds, but if I go to the reds, this image was of purple flowers. Notice I can add a little bit of coloration in there, even though it's black and white, so that makes it kind of a duotone. If I add some greens in there, you'll see how that alters my colors. If I take the blues, closer to yellow is going to make it more yellow. Closer to blue is going to make it more blue. So I'm going to pull it down to there. And this is what my curves adjustment should look like. Now I don't have any numbers to give you, but when I'm working with the different colors here, I'm pulling the center of the value down because that's where the majority of the image lies. When I work in the black and white area, the main color curve, this is what my main color curve looks like, and I just kind of gave myself some brighter whites, some dark midtones, and then some blacker blacks. So that'll be my final curve in the black and white adjustment. Go ahead and export this photograph and turn that one in.